All right, and so this will be take one, only take one, because all we're going to do is take one. I like that. So we're going to make chocolate chip cookies here at the Way for a couple of special people. A couple of special people I know that some of them don't particularly care for banana nut bread as much as they care for the chocolate chip cookies. So we're going to start working on that today. We're going to follow Grandma's recipe. Boy, I haven't thought about Grandma in a while. I haven't been doing any baking lately. She used to allow me in the kitchen with her, and it was great. At first it wasn't so easy. She did not like having me in the kitchen, but she started putting me to work and realized I could actually be fairly helpful. So here we go. Let's go ahead and do some Grandma cookies. The first thing we want to do is we want to preheat the oven to 375. So we walk over here to the oven and we adjust the timer to the temperature to 375. We'll hit start. And as always, it's preheated right now to 100 inside there. And then what we'll do is have to wait just a few minutes. Okay, so let me say, written on the back of an envelope, mind you, the first thing she says to do is we're going to mix. In a large bowl, we're going to combine the flour, baking soda, and the salt. So we got a bowl over here. You'll notice I like to bring all my ingredients out ahead of time. And I put it away, actually, sort of, as I use it, so I know I had used it. Gotta watch out for the eggs, though. You know, they might fall off if you don't watch them. So we're going to combine our 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I used a large spoon. 2¼ cup of flour. This is different than the flours that you have in a garden. And I found out just last year it's spelled differently too. Alright, that's a joke. Everybody knows it's spelled the same. So 2¼ cup of flour. Grandma used to say, "Little Michael, don't take so long. It doesn't matter if you're a tablespoon off," but she was German. Grandma, she was. Once you got to know her, she was the sweetest little lady. But I tell you what, you wouldn't be able to tell me that in the beginning when I first met her. Okay, so that's good for that. So that's 2¼ cup flour, and then the soda, the baking soda is 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Teaspoon. Baking soda. See? Baking soda. Teaspoon of that stuff. And salt. Teaspoon of salt. Now, I'm using unsalted butter, by the way. And so if you get a little bit of extra salt in here, it's okay. But chocolate chip cookies don't have to be all that salty to be good. And so we have the flour, the baking soda, and the salt. And what I do is I stir all that up with a fork. So, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This cameraman over here is being left out. How you doing today, Jimmy? All right, so we got it all. Cynthia, you're better looking than Jeremy, though, so I'll have to put it over to your camera if you don't mind. Okay, so now we have all this stirred up together so that it's a dry ingredient mix, okay? If you're careful, you can do this too, but half of it goes on the floor as a rule. And then I have to clean up. Then I need another mixing bowl. In a small mixing bowl, beat the butter, the granulated sugar, and the brown sugar and vanilla. Have I shown you guys my new KitchenAid? Julie bought me this for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. Excuse the mess, please. I'm in the midst of making several different dishes today. Here's my other small bowl that I need for my sugars. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to beat my butter and my sugars together along with my vanilla. Boom! Into the bowl. Okay. Sugars, let's see. Michael, you could have used it just where it was. Yeah, I know, but you know me. I like to be a little bit more precise than that. Okay. And then I need to get my my brown packed sugar, 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Now, I don't know if I have enough here. I may have to open up another bag of it. I was using some of this the other day. I did make some banana nut bread the other day, and it always goes real quick because I give it out. I can't eat as much baking and cooking as I do. I have to share it. There's no way any one person could eat that much. So what you want to do is you want to pack down the sugar. Otherwise, there's a lot of air holes in it, and you don't know how much you truly have in there. And I can come hold up. There you go. There we go. Now, let's see. And now for the vanilla extract. She always said put a little bit more than a teaspoon. When you get enough sugar in there, people are going to love that vanilla taste. I remember when I was young, I thought that vanilla smelled great and it tasted good in the cookies, and so I took a teaspoon of vanilla extract and put it on my mouth. You don't want to do that. It don't taste good. Okay, so we take my handy dandy fancy KitchenAid, lock down that bowl, and then we plug her in after we're finished fooling with everything. Put it down there, lock her in place so she can't bounce up, and then turn on the beater. So the question comes up, why would anyone want a beater that you don't have to fool with? Well, for one thing that I can think of is that when I have a beater such as that, I have the opportunity to go warm my coffee up without worrying about having to hold on to the beater at the same time. It has been heated to the creamy side. So after everything seems to be creamy mixed, I'll go ahead and turn off the beater, unlock the beater, and pull up so I can scrape off the sides, make certain everything seems to be really, mixed well, and it does seem to be mixed well. Jimmy, can you bring that in just a little bit for me, please? Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Get all that back down at the bottom of the bowl. I'll tell you, I love this mixer. Lock it down, put it down, lock it down, and turn it on again. High speed. Good. Okay. Unlock. Take everything off the beater. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the eggs. Grandma never understood why when you read instructions on things, and even back then, they always specified add 1 egg at a time. How many people break 2 eggs open at the same time to add it? Grandma always also taught me that you don't add eggs out of a shell directly into anything. She always said put it in some sort of bowl first. Why? Because when you crack an egg, there's always that possibility that a piece of the shell is going to go inside. And you don't want that shell falling into your beater and into your mix, and then you have to try to take it out. But you can inspect it if it's in a bowl. And I can see I have no shells. So now I can put my beater back on, lock it down, turn it on, and add my eggs. And as far as I'm concerned, that was one egg at a time, because they went into the bowl by itself one at a time. We'll blend that up. Meanwhile, I'll rinse off my hands. Okay, the KitchenAid does a very good job of beating my batter together and so forth. But again, raise it up. I'm going to remove the blade. Make sure that everything in here got blended very well together. Scrape it off the sides. If I wasn't so lazy, I would take the bowl off separately to do this, but I'm lazy. Okay, it's all blended together. So what do you think is going to happen next? I don't hear you. What do you think is going to happen next? Well, the next thing we do, we're going to turn the mixer on slow, and we'll slowly add the flour mixture, salt, flour, and baking soda mixture to the bowl. Again, it's so nice to have my two hands be able to operate this bowl and spoon while the mixer is going. This is something I had always wanted to have. If Grandma was still alive, she would be so envious. Of course, when I cook with Grandma, we always use the old-fashioned, you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, the old-fashioned beater that you had to beat with your hands, turn the little circle thing. So that was even more difficult. So now my batter is going, and you can see it's thickening up. And we're going to go ahead now and chop some nuts to go in with the mixture. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take approximately a cup of walnuts. And we're going to chop those little boogers with my handy dandy little chopper thing here. This thing has been around for some time. Always taste the walnuts to be sure they're good. Oh yeah, that's a good walnut. Oh yeah, you gotta taste the walnuts to make sure they're good. I'm gonna test these. I'm not sure. Yeah, they work. Then you remeasure. But after you chop them down, they get, of course, condensed more. But you see, not bad, Grandma. Got that down to a cup. And now we're going to add the walnuts to the beater. And then we're going to add the morsels for the chocolate chips in here. And we just dump those in. Oh, wait a minute. Make sure they're not stale. You gotta taste them. If they're stale, you have to eat them all. They're not stale. Now you hear my machine is fighting Okay? We don't want to break them up. So we don't want to run it too long. But we want to make sure that they indeed mix together. So this is where I will take the bowl off for a minute. And I will make certain that anything on the side that's not being touched gets in the center. Now I know this is not one of my normal, really fun videos, but I've been having a tremendous week already so far. This is only Tuesday, and I've been quite busy. So, but the next time I cook something, I'll have maybe a little bit more fun with it. Okay, the mix was made. So now what do we do? Well, I think it's time to see about putting them on a cookie sheet and getting them to the oven. Okay, so what we have here now is we have our setup with our pans with parchment paper inside. You don't want to use a greased pan when you're making cookies. Trust me, you just don't. They get greasy. You don't need to have the parchment paper either, but I have found it definitely comes off easier, much easier if you have parchment paper. We take about a tablespoon, a rounded tablespoon, and we put that on to the sheet. And that one's going to be a little bit too big, so we're not going to make one that big again. That one's for me. A little bit less on the tablespoon. And flop it on here. These cookies are going to be kind of big, so I have to start making them a little bit smaller because I do want to stretch it out a little bit so everybody gets some. I'm going to have to mail some off, I think. What do you think? Do I have to mail some off? So, Jimmy said yes. Cynthia, she's doing a close-up for this camera right here. She said no. In fact, she said that she wants to make certain she tastes them first before they get off into the blue yonder. Yeah, I've got a niece and nephew that are so sweet that live far, far away, and their daddy is serving our country. I remember when I was in the military, it was always kind of neat. I was on a ship and I was in an aircraft carrier, and then I was in a squadron, went out hunting for submarines. But remember, it was really kind of cool when I got a care package, and so I'm gonna send a care package to the kids. But I got a couple of other ones here, niece and a nephew that are very sweet, very kind, and in fact, he's dubbed me as master chef because I've been doing a little bit of cooking and baking for them, just because I enjoy doing it. And they're renovating their place, so the kitchen didn't have a lot of room being in it, you know. So I just thought I would try to help out a little bit. They seem to like the food. Nobody got sick yet, so. The important thing, and I'm not doing it very well, the important thing is to try to make them all uniformed. If they're not uniformed, they're not going to cook at the same rate of speed, you know? So you have to make sure that they're all about the same size. And I'm not doing real well with that one right now. But we'll get there. Okay. The fun part. First, before I do anything else, I want to point out this really nice towel. And I hate to admit it, but it gets used. So I don't just use it for decoration. But if you look at this towel, my godchild gave me that towel. What a sweet woman she is too, from Florida. Actually, she figures I'm poor. She sends a lot of things my way, and I love her for it. But I love her, period. But it's nice that she does that too. Okay, so into the oven we go. We know we have 375 oven because we see it on the thermometer that's also inside the oven. And we're going to stack these a little bit, and they should be just fine, I think. Yep. We're going to set the timer for, we're going to go with 10 minutes. And we're going to wait and see what happens. Meanwhile, I get to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and take a little short break and rest my back up a little bit. I'll be back at you. The countdown begins. We're less than a minute to go. You got to take out my super duper heat gloves. And we'll take these out and put them over here. And we have our first batch of cookies. I wonder, it doesn't matter if I try one, does it really? I mean, who's gonna know? They're gonna know. They're not gonna know. Just one cookie? Oh my goodness. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Well, I'm sorry. You've got to taste it, right? I mean, boy, a cookie and a cup of hot chocolate. Oh, you can see the steam coming up that chocolate, at least I can. Oh, ain't nothing like a good chocolate chip cookie, fresh out of the oven. And a good cup of hot chocolate. Grandma and I would sit there in the kitchen. I mean, after everything was clean, mind you. And the cookies, we'd sit there in a bowl, kind of like a bowl with a towel in it. And she'd say, well, nice job, Michael. Now, Michael Paul, you go ahead and have one of those cookies. And I say, well, Grandma, are you going to have one with me? She'd say, well, you know, that's not good for my heart. And I say, Grandma, you're good for my heart. Have a cookie. And so Grandma would have a cookie. Oh. Happy I could be with y'all for a little while. Hope to talk to you again soon. Bon appetit.